Brought to you by NordVPN. Garry's Mod is notorious for its nuance as a true sandbox game. Since the beginning with the Steam Workshop and even the early Gmod Toy Box, players have been making their copy of the game pretty much whatever they can think of. With that known, some very talented people on this platform, myself, none included, have made many maps for the purposes of maybe role-playing 300 feet underground. You can't do that! Or large cityscapes made for pretty much whatever your mind desires at the time. Maps for the most part are used for testing out the array of downloadable add-ons from Steam. Naturally, a map used for this would require a few key features that are present inside the default GM construct. A small pool of water with some open space for assorted enterprises, a medium-sized strip that can be used for airplanes, and by association, a decently sized skybox. This with a few buildings dotted around the map, and a room with colorable walls for making green screens and such. Downloading maps in the early 2010s and even today could be a risk. Back in Gmod 10, there was one called the G-Man virus, which would open dozens of spam and phishing links to essentially turn your PC into a very expensive brick. That's why this video is brought to you by NordVPN, now with Threat Protection Pro. Other competitors simply have DNS filtering. Cool. Now you could change what Netflix shows you could watch and maybe hide your IP address with some public location. That's amazing, but that doesn't bring you the whole web protection of NordVPN. Say you click on some clickbait headline. You see a pop-up to update your graphics driver, and BAM! Your important files are locked and you need to send some guy some Ethereum to get him back. Scammers try to do this to people on all sorts of websites every single day. NordVPN has active protection against this and scans every file you download for malicious code. It also has a database of some of these common websites where they try to do this, so you'll never visit them again. Active protection against phishing sites, dark web monitors to keep your leaked info off the internet, active malware protection, and DDoS protection. NordVPN is like putting your car in sport mode and adding the turbocharger that I severely lack. You can surf the web and play your favorite games with the protection of the world's fastest VPN. Use my code in the description and in the pinned comment to start today, plus 4 months extra. If it's not for you, free 30-day money-back guarantee. Thanks again to NordVPN for the collaboration. GM_Highway 14800 is the successor of Highway 19-2000, which was inspired by the popular hip-hop band Gorillaz.
Banging! Stop it! Banging! I can't catch it, look, it's so slippery!
Both maps are decently popular for their appearance in some media, as well as their generally simple purpose. The map is wrapped around by the -19 freeway, with a decent speed limit of about 8.3 billion miles per hour. This goes over and under some sections, and the highway is built with some twists and turns, even some gaps in the guardrail and an entire missing bridge, prompting probably some kid in 2015's demise.
New video on Gmod.
All it's missing is Dell and Noodle betting on 2D on some trike. Under the bridge, there is some shallow, maybe not so clean water, kept shallow by a dam. By submerging yourself, you can see that it covers you entirely with some space to spin around. Assuming that it's around 11 feet deep here, most vessels could dwell here. Unfortunately, I cannot fit the USS Abraham Lincoln on it, which is disappointing, but not a deal breaker for me. Moving on to its 2 runways, to put it in one word, are very massive. You could stand on one end of the runway and barely see the barriers on the other side. By looking at the plastic section of the Gmod spawn lists, I could fit about 11 of the 32 long blocks on the runway. Assuming that the Gmod model is about 5'9", we could guesstimate that these blocks are about a foot tall and wide. Having about 128 feet, give or take, on one of these 32 blocks, we could see that this runway is about 1,400 feet. For comparison, this is the Gustav III airport in the Caribbean. This airport is about 2,000 feet. But suffice it to say, most aircraft, either stocked from the workshop or using mods like LFS, are able to consistently take off and land with only one of these 32 blocks. So for a Gmod standpoint, size does not necessarily matter. At least I try to tell myself that. Come to think of it, the signs on the highway call it a takeoff track. I'm not sure if because this guy is French and this was lost in translation, but this is a runway. I get both runway and track are the same word, but I don't get why they would call it a takeoff track. Even ChatGPT, the infinitely correct chatbot, thinks this is a little bit strange. Are we not supposed to land here? Does the tower not want us to land at this airport? My only rip on the map is there's not really any real buildings from the looks of it, aside from this one long abandoned building, which looks like it was a construction project built with no stairs. I can't really find much use for this or even reference this aside from the road sign calling it the platform. But all that aside, this map is one of my favorite maps. But for the purposes of this video, let's see what else could fit the criteria. GM_Oceantown is a small industrial platform with some sort of housing, situated on top of a concrete base. The whole area looks to be some sort of petrol or oil operation, with its barrels littered across the base, and many openings in the map meant to look like for the offloading of something. Inside one of the houses connected to the barrels is some sort of power generation method for the base. Near this building is a much more established runway with its own control tower. I measured this to be about a third of the length of the highway's takeoff strip. This makes landing a little bit more of a challenge with faster craft, but not entirely unreasonable. The open water area of the map is perfect for any sort of watercraft, capital attack ship, or amphibious vehicle that can be lifted by these elevators, or dropped by these ramps. Much of this map is built on sections of concrete built for either housing, with various buildings for which near the airports, or on this platform, or in the sky. This map is pretty much built for anything you want to do in Gmod. I myself have spent hundreds of hours on this map, and would go as far as calling it my favorite Gmod map. Shut it, I'm not biased. What? Go complain. You won't. I flip comments off and on whenever people start questioning me. In actuality, most maps in Gmod with some decent size and uniqueness put into it are really good for any Gmod player for anything they want to do in their very short life. There's not really any map that could compete with the simplicity and versatility of Construct or even Flatgrass. You can't really make a green screen pose or animation for things like this in GM Fork, or launch a navy to take on a pirate ship in GM_Phasing Constructs. No offense to any of these maps, but they're not necessarily built for that, and that's fine. That's kind of the point of having the workshop, and talented people get to make all these amazing maps. Most older Gmod maps would include a lot of these features, like maybe a green screen room, or a giant airport to keep players on their map and keep it relevant in the ever-evolving Gmodscape of the early 2010s. So, did we find the perfect Gmod sandbox map? No, and I don't really think we can. Again, not really any map meant for sandbox has the plethora of options that Construct does, and the ones that could cram all that into one map fell into irrelevance over the past decade. Let me know what maps you like and dedicate your time to, or not. Do whatever you want. Or not. I've been Content Buffet. I'll see you later.